Hello students, good morning to everyone. This is M. Bujibabu, working as a chemistry lecturer in Vignan Cooperative Junior College, Vadlamudi. In this morning session, I am going to explain the chapter of solid state. So this is a second video for you. In this solid state chapter, I did completed one topic. So this is another topic regarding to you. So that is especially for solid state. So in solid state chapter, we mainly focusing on the only solids. So what is the construction of the solids and what type of particles presenting in the solid. And next one, what are the forces presenting between the particles which are presenting in solids. So in previous video we discussed about what are mainly solids and classification of the solids and characteristic properties of the solids. What are the main characteristics regarding to these particularly solids. And next one, especially for after knowing the characteristics of the solids, and next concept is the classification of the solids. You know that very well, solids are mainly classified into two categories. What are they? First one, crystalline solids, and second one, amorphous solids. So basing on the structural arrangement, the arrangement of the particles means like atoms, ions or molecules which are present in the particular solids, they can be classified into two types, crystalline solids and amorphous solids. So again, crystalline solids are classified into four types. You know that very well. In the previous video we discussed about that. So what are they? Molecular solids, ionic solids, covalent or network solids, hydrogen bonded solids. So these are all the main classification regarding to the crystalline solids. And next one, amorphous solids. We know that amorphous means in Greek language no form. So, and after knowing the definitions of the crystalline solids and amorphous solids, there is a distinguish between the crystalline solids and amorphous solids. So what is their melting point, what are their sharp melting point values, and their cleavage property, and their thermal property, and the properties of anisotropic nature. So especially anisotropic nature and isotropic nature, everything we learned in last video. So in this video, particularly we are focused on the types of crystalline solids, and next one, so probing the structure of the crystalline solids, X-ray crystallography, and next one, types of unit cells. What are unit cells and what are crystal lattice and unit cell, types of unit cell. So that is upcoming topics in this video. So once we have to take a look what are the contents present in this video are. So the contents present in this video are, first one, probing the structure of solids. Probing the structure of solids. So especially probing the structure of solids means by X-ray crystallography. If we are passing X-rays through a solid substance, a solid crystalline substance, so many of the experiments are did regarding to the probing the structure of the solid. Max van Louis, he passed X-rays through the crystalline solid and he noticed that some bright spots appear in photographic plate. So therefore he concluded that the X-rays are diffracted due to the atoms which are presenting in the particular solids. So that gives the information regarding to the probing the structure of the solids. And next one, Bragg's equation. So this is a more essential important equation regarding to the X-ray crystallography, that is known as the Bragg's equation. So Bragg's, W.H. Bragg and his son did many observations regarding to the Bragg's equation. N lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. N lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. And next one is crystal lattice and unit cell. So what is meant by crystal lattice and what is meant by unit cell? So crystal lattice means the arrangement of the particles in the given substance, crystalline substance. So the repeating the arrangement of the particles in a three-dimensional pattern. In three-dimensional pattern, the arrangement of the particles in a given crystal it gives a crystal lattice. And come to the point of the unit cell, the repeated structure, the small portion of the structure which is repeated again and again in a crystal lattice, that is known as unit cell. So there is a reference between the crystal lattice and unit cell. Okay. And next one, types of unit cells and types of unit cells. So after knowing the definition of the unit cell, so what are types of unit cells? So mainly unit cells are classified into two types. Primitive unit cells are simple unit cells and centered unit cell. So basing on the number of the particles which are present on the given crystalline substance, the unit cells can be classified into two categories, that are primitive unit cells and centered unit cells. And another important topic regarding to this today's session, number of atoms in unit cell. Number of atoms in unit cell. So how can we calculate the total number of atoms presenting in, for example, primitive unit cell like simple cubic structure and a body centered cubic structure and a face centered cubic structure and end centered cubic structure. So these are all the important contents which are presenting in this today's session regarding to the solid state. So come to the first one, probing the structure of solids, X-ray crystallography. Probing the structure of the solids by X-ray crystallography. Okay, the origin of X-ray crystallography, go back to the work of Max van Looy in 1912. So in 1912, the scientist Max van Looy did experiment regarding to the X-ray crystallography. Though the first priority goes to the scientist, he was Max van Looy in 1912. So he discovered an experiment that is one X-ray crystallography. So he noticed that, so regarding to this one, on passing X-rays through a crystal of sodium chloride. So Max van Looy passing X-rays through a crystal of sodium chloride and letting them strike a photographic plate. So what he noticed that, first of all, Max van Looy passing X-rays through a crystal sodium chloride. After then he noticed that the X-rays are strike a photographic plate. Looy noticed that a pattern of spots was produced on the plate. So this is a main assumption, the Max van Looy experiment. He passed X-rays through the crystal of sodium chloride and he placed a photographic plate, and after when he passing the X-rays through the sodium chloride crystal, he noticed that some of the spots were observed on the surface of the photographic plate. So this indicating that the X-rays were being diffracted by the atoms in the crystal. So finally Max van Looy concluded that X-rays were being diffracted by the atoms in the crystal. So this was the information given by the Max van Looy in 1912 by his X-ray crystallography technique. Okay students, so what he noticed that the X-rays are passing through the crystal sodium chloride, and after passing the crystal X-rays through that sodium chloride crystal, and he noticed that some pattern of spots was observed on the photographic plate, so indicating that X-rays were being diffracted by the atoms presenting in the crystal. So once we have to look at this image, in that image you have to clearly identify that. So here X-rays are passing through the sodium chloride. This is the Looy's method, Max van Looy method. X-rays were passing through the sodium. This is a crystal sodium chloride, crystalline form sodium chloride. So X-rays were passing through the crystalline sodium chloride. So these are passing through this one. After he placing a photographic plate, after he passing the X-rays through the sodium chloride crystal, he noticed that some bright spots were deposited on the surface of the photographic plate. So after noticing the bright spots on the photographic plate, he concluded that what Max van Looy given. So when X-rays were passing through the sodium chloride crystal, and after then some bright spots were deposited on the photographic plate, he concluded that the X-rays were diffracted by atoms which are present especially in sodium chloride crystal. So this is the important point. So X-rays are passing through the crystalline substances. So the X-rays are diffracted by the atoms which are presenting in the crystalline solids. So this is a experiment regarding to the X-ray crystallography done by Max van Leeuwen. Next point regarding to this one, X-ray crystallography, diffraction of electromagnetic radiation occurs when a beam is scattered by an object containing regularly spaced lines such those in a diffracting grating or points such as atoms in the crystal. This scattering can happen only if the spacing between the lines or points is comparable to the wavelength of the radiation. So this is another important point regarding to the X-ray crystallography. The diffraction of electromagnetic radiation occurs. So when the diffraction of here X-rays means electromagnetic radiation. So the diffraction of electromagnetic radiation occurs when a beam scattered by an object containing regularly spaced lines. That means those in the diffraction grating are points such as atoms in a crystal. When the scattering happen only if the spacing between the lines or points is comparable to the wavelength of the radiation. So in the given crystalline substance, you know that very well. So what is the geometry? What is the shape of the crystalline substance? Especially in a crystalline substance, the particles, that means the atoms are arranged in a regular pattern. So therefore, due to the scattering of that beam of light, the X-rays are diffracted through this crystalline substance. It is the compulsory, the spacing between the lines or points is comparable to the wavelength to the radiation. Okay, so when this is possible, then the diffraction of the electromagnetic radiation takes place. Okay, this is a very important point regarding to the X-ray crystallography. So diffraction is due to interface between two waves passing through the same region of space at the same time. So this is another important point. Diffraction is due to the interface between two waves passing through the same region of space at the same time. Okay. And next one, constructive interference of waves. So you know that very well, the X-rays electromagnetic radiation that having dual character, wave particle nature and wave nature. Okay, dual nature, and they are having electromagnetic radiation having dual character, that means it having particle nature and also having wave nature. Okay, constructive interference of waves. So when the electromagnetic radiation passing through in the wave form, there are two possibilities or interference are there. First one, constructive interference of waves. So look at this image. So this image gives the information about the constructive interference of waves. So when the constructive interference of waves, both the waves are in the same phase. Okay, is it right? So both the waves are in the same phase. That means the waves are undergoing constructive interference. But that means the two crusts and troughs of the waves are in the same phase. So when both the waves are in the same phase, they are undergo constructive interference. So we can set it to be the waves are in phase. Both the waves are in the same phase. Their crushes and troughs are in same. Therefore, the intensity of the resultant wave is also increases. So the resultant wave intensity also increases, is very high in case of both the waves are undergo in case of constructive interference. And next one come to the destructive interference of waves. So this is regarding to the destructive interference of waves. In that destructive interference of waves, both the waves are out of phase. Because their resultant wave is cancelled due to their crushes and troughs are in a different phase, that means out of phase. So therefore, the destructive interference of waves in out of phase, they are said to be undergo destructive interference. Both the crushes and their crushes and troughs of the waves present in out of the phase. Therefore, the resultant wave, so like that here appear in the image, the resultant wave is cancelled. So like this one, so this is exact. The resultant wave is cancelled in the destructive interference of the waves. Therefore, students, here you notice that very important point. X-rays are electromagnetic radiation having dual character. They have particle nature and wave nature. So So they are undergoing two types of interference are there. First one is constructive interference, both the waves are in the same phase, and second one is destructive interference, both the waves are in out of phase. So come to the next one, Bragg's equation. So what is meant by Bragg's equation? So you notice that very well by X-ray crystallography. It is very important question regarding to the Bragg's equation. So in a Bragg's equation also, this was done by the experiment by the W.H. Bragg and his son. So that is known as Bragg's equation. So in a Bragg's equation also very important in IP pattern also, in objective pattern also, n lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. So in a Bragg's equation they noticed that, for example, every crystal has some crystal planes. In a given crystalline substance, every crystal has some crystal planes. This is the first plane, and this is the second plane, and this is the third plane. So this is the first plane. So this is the first plane, and this is the second plane. This is the second plane, and this is the third plane. So these are all crystal planes. Here some of the atoms or particles are arranged like this manner. So this particular spots indicates the arrangement of the particles in a crystal. Okay, if we are considering a crystalline substance, in that crystalline substance there are the atoms, particles like atoms, ions or molecules are arranged in regular pattern in different planes like this manner. Okay, in a given crystalline substance, the particles like atoms, ions, molecules are arranged in regular pattern in different planes. Now we are passing X-rays on first plane at this point. So this is the first X-ray passing on this one. At that exact, these points are noted as lattice points or lattice sites. What are they? Each point dotted indicates the lattice point or lattice site. So lattice point or lattice site, it means give the atoms, ions or molecules. Okay, they can be diffracted like this manner. And the second X-ray passing on the second plane, exact this one. So they also be diffracted like this manner. So this is the distance wavefront AD. Okay, and this is the distance between indicated BC. So this is the incident angle theta. Incident angle theta. This is the diffracted angle. So this is the first X-ray, and this is the second X-ray. So once you look at the image, we have to clearly identify the derive the Bragg's equation very easily. First I come to the first one, once again repeat. So in a given crystal, the atoms are arranged in regular pattern in a different in different lines. So on first plane at point A, we are passing an X-ray, it will be diffracted from this. And the second X-ray passing on the second plane at point B, it will be diffracted like this manner. So both the X-rays are having particle nature and wave nature. Both X-rays having a waves. So both the waves are travelled same distance up to wavefront AD. So here wavefront AD, this is the distance AD known as wavefront. Wavefront or grating. Wavefront or grating. Up to the wavefront AD, both the waves are travelling same distance. Up to the wavefront AD, both the waves are travelling same distance. After crossing this grating or distance, second wave travel more distance compared with the first wave. The distance is equal to dB plus BC. Second wave travel more distance, that is equal to dB plus BC. Both the waves are in same phase. Both the waves are in same phase. So both the waves are in same phase. They undergo constructive interference. They undergo constructive interference. They undergo constructive interference. So if both the waves are in the same phase and they undergo constructive interference, it must and should the second wave travel more distance compared with A, that is equal to dB plus BC. So when both the waves are in the same phase, the path difference between the two waves is equal to integral multiple of wavelength. So lambda is the wavelength and n is the integer, therefore n lambda is equal to dB plus bc. N lambda is equal to dB plus bc. Both the waves are in the same phase. The path difference between the two waves, that is equal to dB plus bc, is equal to integral multiple of wavelength. Wavelength means lambda, integral wavelength means n lambda. N lambda is equal to dB plus bc. So come to this one. Here two triangles are there from triangle ADB. From triangle ADB, sin theta is equal to, from triangle ADB sin theta is equal to, we have to be write like this one, dB by, so dB by AB. So this can be written as dB by AB means the distance between the two planes, this is equal to small d. Therefore in place of AB you have to write d. Therefore dB is equal to d sin theta. dB is equal to d sin theta. So come to the second triangle. From triangle ABC, for triangle ABC sin theta is equal to, triangle ABC sin theta is equal to BC by AB. BC by AB. This is equal to BC by AB means AB equal to distance small d. Therefore BC is equal to d sin theta. BC is equal to d sin theta. So in this n lambda is equal to dB plus bc, you have to substitute these values. N lambda is equal to dB, dB value is equal to d sin theta, bc value is equal to d sin theta, n lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. N lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. This is nothing but Bragg's equation. So this is the equation for Bragg's equation. N lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. So in that one, n is equal to order of the diffraction. N is equal to order of the diffraction. Lambda is equal to wavelength of X-ray. D is the distance between the two planes. Theta is the angle of incident. Okay, basing on this equation, many of the questions are asked from in a MCET pattern also, JEE main pattern also. Okay, this is about the Bragg's equation. N lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. So come to the next one, crystal lattice and unit cell. So what is meant by crystal lattice and what is meant by unit cell? So the regular and repeating portion, the regular and repeating portion of constituent particles in a three-dimensional arrangement is called crystal lattice. So this is the definition for the crystal lattice. What is that? The regular and repeating portion of constituent particles in a three-dimensional arrangement. The constituent particles means atoms, ions, molecules which are presenting in the given crystalline substance. They are regular and repeating constituent particles in a three-dimensional arrangement. That is important. In a three-dimensional arrangement, the regular and repeating pattern of constituent particles in three-dimensional arrangement is called crystal lattice. So that is the definition for the crystal lattice. Once we have to look at this image. So this image regarding to the crystal lattice. So in that crystal lattice, this is the arrangement of the particles. That means atoms, ions or molecules which are arranged in three-dimensional pattern. It is very simple. The three-dimensional arrangement of particles in a given crystalline substance, that indicates the crystal lattice. So unit cell is BA part of crystal lattice. I already mentioned in the previous at the starting of the session. Okay, so unit cell is a repeated a small portion of crystal lattice, that is known as the unit cell. So first we have to look at the crystal lattice and come to the next one, unit cell. So crystal lattice means the regular and repeating constituent particles in a three-dimensional pattern, that is known as the crystal lattice, and a small portion which is repeated again and again in a crystal lattice, that is known as the unit cell. So it is a diagrammatic representation for the crystal lattice and unit cell. So come to the next one, a representation of unit cell. Representation of unit cell. So this is another important point regarding to you. So crystalline lattice and unit cell also we have to conclude it with the with another example of blocking of bricks. You know that? Blocking of bricks. block of bricks. Block of bricks. Block of bricks. So bricks are generally arranged in a three-dimensional pattern that is known as the block of bricks. This block of bricks represented crystal lattice. This block of bricks represented crystal lattice. Block of brick represented a crystal lattice, and each brick represented as unit cell. Each brick represented as unit cell. So that is the definition of the unit cell. Unit cell is the small portion of the crystal lattice which is repeated again and again throughout the crystal lattice. So this is a live example. Block of bricks indicates crystal lattice, and each brick is represented as a unit cell. So this is a distinguish between the crystal lattice and unit cell. So come to the next one, a representation of unit cell. How can we represent the unit cell? How can we represent the unit cell? So once we have to look at here, so what is that representation of unit cell? This indicates, so every unit cell represents three-dimensional parameter of unit cell, and every unit cell characterized by six parameters. Each unit cell is a three-dimensional cubic structure. First of all, three-dimensional cubic structure. In that one, these are all three axes, that is the axis along to x-axis and y-axis and z-axis. X-axis its edge length B, according to y-axis edge length A, z-axis edge length C. Three edge length. So each unit cell shown with a cubic structure which having three edges. Having three edges that are belong to the A, B, C, according to the x, y, z axis. So there are the three edges length, and the angles present between them, small alpha, beta, gamma, are angles present between the edges. So between these two, this is the alpha. Between the three edge length B and C, alpha, and between A and C, beta, and between A and B, gamma. Okay, A comma B comma C are edge length according to the x comma y comma z axis, and the angles present between them, alpha, beta, gamma. Therefore every unit cell characterized by six parameters. Every unit cell characterized by six parameters that are nothing but A comma B comma C and alpha, beta, gamma. So this is a representation of a unit cell. And come to the next one, types of unit cells, primitive and centered unit cells. Unit cells can be broadly divided into two categories, that are primitive and centered unit cell. So after knowing the definition of the crystal lattice and unit cell, a representation of the crystal lattice, they can be classified into mainly two types, that are primitive unit cells and centered unit cells. So what are primitive unit cells? When constituent particles are present only on the corner position of the unit cell, that is called to be primitive unit cell. So what are primitive unit cell? Are simple unit cells. So in the given cubic structure, only atoms are presenting at only corner position, they are said to be primitive unit cell. So look at this image. In that image, this is a cubic structure of a crystal substance. In that one, atoms only presenting at on only corner position. So every cubic structure contain 8 corners. Every cubic structure contain 8 corners, 12 edges, 1 center of the body, and 6 faces. So this is a representation of the cube. In every cubic structure, it having 8 corners, 12 edges, 1 center of the body, and 6 faces. In primitive unit cell, the atoms are only presenting at a corner position. So come to the centered unit cells. So what are centered unit cell. When a unit cell contains one or more constituent particles at position other than corner, in addition to at corner, it is called a centered unit cell. These are classified into three types. Okay, only primitive unit cells or simple unit cells means the atoms are only presenting at on corner position. So the atoms are presenting at along with the corner position in other positions of the crystal lattice, that is said to be centered unit cells. They can be classified into three types. First one, body centered unit cell. What is that? Body centered unit cell, that is nothing but BCC, body centered unit cell. And second one, face centered unit cell, that is nothing but FCC, face centered unit cell. And next one, end centered unit cell, end centered unit cell. So this is the classification of the centered unit cells. So come to the first one, body centered unit cell. So what is meant by body centered unit cell? Such a unit cell contains one constituent atom, molecule or ion and its body center beside the ones that are its corners. So in body center means the atoms presenting at 8 corners in addition with one center of the body. So look at this image. In that image, atoms are presenting at 8 corners. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Atoms are presenting at 8 corners and one center of the body. This indicates body centered unit cell. The atoms are presenting at 8 corners plus one center of the body. So this is the filling of, this is the completely spacing position of the particles in body centered cubic structure. And come to the next one, face centered unit cell. Face centered unit cell. So what is meant by face centered unit cell? Such a unit cell contains one constituent particles present at the center of each face beside ones that are its corners. So a face centered unit cell means the atoms are presenting at a corner position. Atoms are presenting at corner position and along with each face center. So look at this image. Atoms are presenting at 8 corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They are also presenting in 6 faces. First face 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So in that one, in face centered unit cell, atoms are presenting at only 8 corners and 6 faces. 8 corners and 6 faces. So in face centered, atoms are presenting at 8 corners plus 6 faces. 8 corners face 6 faces. So these are all the atoms presenting at a corner position. These atoms are represented with the yellow symbol. These are presenting in face. So cubic structure contains 6 faces. Okay. In a face centered unit cell, atoms presenting at 8 corners and 6 faces. And come to the next one, end centered unit cell. So what is meant by end centered unit cell? What is meant by end centered unit cell? In such a unit cell, one constituent particles is present at the center of any 2 opposite faces besides ones present at this corner. So in face centered, end centered unit cell, the atoms are presenting at 8 corners and any opposite 2 faces. The atoms are presenting at any opposite 2 faces. So these are all the atoms presenting at corners 1, 2, they represent with the red symbol 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 corners and atoms presenting at any 2 opposite faces. So for example, this is one face, both are opposite faces presenting it. So in end centered unit cell, atoms are presenting at 8 corners plus any 2 opposite faces. 8 corners plus any 2 opposite faces. So this is about the end centered unit cell. 7 primitive unit cells in crystals. There are 7 types of primitive unit cells in crystals. So these are all 7 types of seven primitive unit cells in crystal lattice. There are 7 types of primitive unit cells in the crystals that are simple cubic, tetragonal, orthorhombic, rhombohedral, monoclinic, triclinic, and hexagonal. So this is their images and the relations between them. You know that very well. Every unit cell characterized by 6 parameters. What are they? A, B, C, alpha, beta, gamma. A comma B comma C are edge length, and alpha, beta, gamma the angles present between them. So come to the simple cubic structure. In case of simple cubic structure, A is equal to B is equal to C, alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma is equal to 90 degrees. So in case of tetragonal structure, A is equal to B not equal to C, alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma is equal to 90 degrees. Come to the third one, orthorhombic, A not equal to B not equal to C, and alpha, beta, gamma 90 degrees. So come to the rhombohedral crystal lattice, A is equal to B is equal to C, alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma not equal to 90 degrees. Come to the monoclinic structure, A is equal to B not equal to C, alpha, gamma 90 and beta not equal to 90 degrees. Come to the triclinic structure, A not equal to B not equal to C, alpha, beta not equal to 90 degrees. So in case of hexagonal structure, A is equal to B not equal to C, alpha, beta 90 and gamma is 120. So these are all 7 types of primitive unit cells in crystals. And come to the next one, 7 primitive unit cells and their possible variations as centered unit cells. What are possible variations in centered unit cells? Okay, 7 primitive unit cells are there. Crystal system, possible variations, and axial distance, axial angles, and a few examples. Come to the first one, cubic structure, possible variation, primitive, body centered and face centered. Axial distance are A is equal to B is equal to C, and axial angles alpha, beta, gamma 90. Example, sodium chloride, zinc blende, and copper. Come to the tetragonal, possible variations, primitive and body centered. Axial distance A is equal to B not equal to C, axial angles alpha, beta, gamma 90 degrees. Examples, white tin, stannous dioxide, titanium dioxide, calcium sulfate. Come to the third one, orthorhombic, possible variations, primitive, body centered, face centered, and centered. Okay, axial distance are A not equal to B not equal to C, axial angles alpha, beta, gamma 90. Example, rhombic sulfur, KNO3, and barium sulfate. And next crystal system, hexagonal, possible variations, primitive, axial distance A is equal to B not equal to C, axial angles alpha, beta 90, gamma 120. Example, graphite, zinc oxide, cadmium sulfide. And hexagonal, okay, next one, rhombohedral or trigonal, possible variations, primitive, axial distance A is equal to B is equal to C, axial angles alpha, beta, gamma 90 not equal to 90. Examples, calcite, calcium carbonate, mercurous sulfide, cinnabar. So these are all possible crystals and their parameters A, B, C and alpha, beta, gamma. Cubic, tetragonal, orthorhombic, monoclinic, hexagonal, rhombohedral and triclinic. So these are all 7 types of unit cells and their possible variations as centered unit cells. And come to the next one, unit cells of 14 types of Bravais lattices. There are 14 types of Bravais lattices are there. So look at this one. These are all 14 types of Bravais lattices. Unit cells of 14 types of Bravais lattice. The Bravais lattice are the distinct lattice types which when repeated can fill the whole spaces. In 2 dimensions there are 5 distinct Bravais lattices, while in the 3 dimensions there are 14. These 14 lattices are further classified as, these are 14 types of Bravais lattices. Come to the first one, simple cubic. So this is the simple cubic structure, face centered cubic structure. Next one, body centered cubic structure. Next one, simple tetragonal structure, body centered tetragonal structure. And next one, hexagonal structure. And next one, simple orthorhombic structure. And next one, body centered orthorhombic structure, base centered orthorhombic structure. And next one, face centered orthorhombic structure. This is the rhombohedral structure, and this is the simple monoclinic structure. And next one, base-centered monoclinic structure, and finally triclinic structure. Okay, these are all 14 types of brachiocytosis which are presenting in the 14 types of brachiocytosis in different types of unit cells. And next one, number of atoms in a unit cell. So how can we calculate the total number of atoms presenting in that unit cell? First one, primitive cubic unit cell. First one, primitive cubic unit cell. So in primitive cubic unit cell, we have to calculate the total number of atoms. Okay, primitive or simple cubic unit cell, it represented total number of, in primitive unit cells or simple unit cell, total number of atoms are presenting on only corner position of the cubic structure. Only corner. So there are 8 corners are there, 8 atoms are presenting at there. So this is a space filling. So this is a space filling by that atoms in a simple cubic structure. So this represents the complete occupation of atoms presenting in that simple cubic structure. Okay, in each corner position in the simple cubic structure, total number of atoms are there. So total number of atoms are there. So this is a very important point. In a simple cubic structure, each corner, the atom presenting at a corner, it is sharing with 8 other unit cells. Each atom presenting at a corner, each atom at a corner, each atom at a corner sharing with each atom at a corner sharing with 8 unit cells. 8 unit cells. Therefore, its contribution at a unit cell, contribution H each unit cell is equal to 1 by 8. So therefore, in a simple cubic unit cell, in every corner each unit cell is shared by other 8 unit cells. Therefore, at each corner in unit cell, its contribution taken as 1 by 8. Therefore, total number of atoms in simple cubic, number of atoms in simple cubic, in a simple cubic, total number of atoms are presenting at 8 corners. Therefore, 8 into atom at a corner position, its contribution is 8. So this is equal to 1 atom. This is equal to 1 atom. Body centered cubic unit cell. Total number of atoms in body centered cubic unit cell. So this is a representation of the atoms presenting at this one. Okay. So in body centered unit cell, you know that very well. This is a representation of body centered unit cell. Atoms are presenting at 8 corners and 1 center of the body. So these atoms are presenting at 8 corners, and this is the atom presenting at center of the body. So this is their occupancy, filling of atoms in that BCC structure, body centered cubic structure. So this is the space filling by them. So this is the exact position of the atoms presenting in body centered structure. So number of atoms in presenting body centered structure, this is equal to atoms presenting at 8 corners plus 1, 8 corners plus 1 center of the body. 8 corners plus 1 center of the body. This is equal to 8 into the contribution of the atom at a corner position, 1 by 8 into 1 into center of the body. The atom does not share with any other atom, any other unit cell in at center position. Therefore, its contribution is 1. Therefore, this is equal to 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 atoms are presenting in BCC. So therefore, total number of atoms presenting in body centered cubic structure is equal to 2 atoms. Come to the last one, face centered cubic unit cell. So how can we calculate the total number of atoms in a face centered cubic unit cell? So in face centered unit cell means the atoms are presenting at 8 corners and 6 faces. So these dots, blue dots are indicated as atoms presenting at 8 corners and 6 faces. These pink color atoms are present at 6 faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces. So this is the occupancy of the atoms in FCC, and this is a completely filling of the atoms in FCC structure. So in FCC structure the atoms are presenting at 8 corners plus 6 faces. 8 into in a corner position, the contribution of the atom is 1/8 plus 6 into in face position. In phase position we have to take an atom which is sharing with a neighboring 2 unit cell. Therefore the contribution of an atom in each unit cell is equal to, at phase position, this is equal to 1/2. So this is equal to 1 plus 3 is equal to 4. Therefore 4 total number of atoms presenting in FCC. So therefore we have to calculate the total number of atoms from simple cubic structure, body centered structure or face centered structure. We have to know the contribution of the atoms. So I have to write here contribution of atom at a corner position is equal to 1/8, edge position is equal to 1/4, face position is equal to 1/2, and center of the body is equal to 1. Therefore the atom presenting at corner position is sharing with neighboring 8 unit cell. Its contribution is 1/8. An atom presenting at edge position is sharing with the 4 neighboring unit cells and contribution 1/4. The atom presenting at face position, it is sharing with the 2 neighboring unit cells. Its contribution is 1/2. At body centered position, it does not share with the neighboring unit cells. Therefore contribution of atom at a body is equal to 1. So this is a formula for calculation of the number of unit cells presenting in the simple cubic structure or body centered structure or face centered structure. Okay, and finally I recall concluded what we learned in this video. Especially in this video we discussed about the after knowing the classification of the crystal lattice and unit cell, we are going to learning still now we did completed about the, especially for the arrangement of the atoms in different structures and proving the structure of X-ray crystallography by Max van Looy, and next one Bragg's equation for especially for classification of the unit cells. So what is a crystal lattice and what is a unit cell, and types of unit cells, simple unit cells or primitive unit cells and centered unit cells, and calculation of the total number of atoms presenting in a simple cubic, body centered and face centered structure. Okay, thank you students, thank you very much.